Jai Jai Shankara, Hara Hara Shankara. Good morning, everyone. I ask a question as I start my speech. What do you mean by consumers? Who are consumers? I hope you would have guessed it right. The people who buy and use things or services from others, say a company or a local shop, are called consumers. So it make all of us a consumer. Even the people who produce the commodity are consumers by themselves. As a consumer, we have our own rights known as consumer rights. Those rights are as follows: right to safety, right to be informed, right to choose, right to be heard, right to seek refund, and right to consumer education. So I hope this gives an hint of today's speech. Today is World Consumer Rights Day. Every year, March 15th is observed as World Consumer Rights Day. It is an annual occasion for celebration and solidarity within the international consumer movement to promote the basic rights of all consumers, demanding those rights and protesting about the market abuse and social injustice which weaken them. The theme for 2022 is Fair Digital Finance. Digital management becoming a key enabler for consumers of financial services. Digital finance brings new opportunities but also new risks that can lead to unfair outcomes for consumers. This year's World Consumer Rights Day sparks the first ever global conversation on the consumer's vision for fair digital finance. The vision sets out questions for decision makers from a consumer rights perspective to build a digital finance marketplace that is inclusive, safe, data protected, and private and sustainable for everyone, which means more reliable online purchases, easier transactions, and lesser scams. So the seller is trustable and the consumers stay protected. In India, the digital finance just began in the pandemic period. With all these awareness, could bring more sellers and consumers into the digital platform, making it easier for the people who need online businesses. With this, I conclude my speech on the World Consumer Rights Day. Let's be informed, stay aware, and know our rights as a consumer and get benefited from it. I thank senior principal, and my dear colleagues and my dear students for your keen attention. Thank you.
Good morning to everybody. I am R. Rudrishwaran of 9th Standard B section. Today, the world is celebrating the World Consumer Rights Day. So, I would like to share some messages about World Consumer Rights Day. With the aim to raise global awareness about consumer rights and needs, World Consumer Rights Day is observed on every year March 15 since 1983. The day was inspired by the President John F. Kennedy's special message to the US Congress on March 15, 1962. Kennedy addressed the issue of consumer rights and laid emphasis on its importance and became the world's first leader to talk about consumer rights. On this day, every year, various organizations like Consumer International hold events and campaigns to inform more and more people about consumer rights. Consumer rights in India. In India, the consumer rights movement finds its roots in 1966 in Maharashtra. After the Grahak Panchayat was established in Pune in 1974, several institutions for the welfare of consumers were formed in many states. On December 9, 1986, the Consumer Protection Act was passed in Parliament with the purpose of empowering consumers. The Act focused on the establishment of consumer councils, forums, and appellate courts for the settlement of consumers' grievances. The Act provides consumers with the following rights: right to be heard at an appropriate forum, right to be seek redressal in the case of unfair trade practices, right to be consumer education, right to goods and services at a competitive prices, right to be informed about the quality, potency, purity, standard, and the price of goods and services, right to be protected against wrong marketing of goods and services which are hazardous to the life and the property. In this year, 2022, the World Consumer Rights Day theme is Fair Digital Finance. That means the global consumer advocacy movement will call for fair digital finance for consumers everywhere. The movement will generate new consumer-centered insights and campaigns for the digital finance that is inclusive, safe, data protected, and private and sustainable. Thank you for giving this great, wonderful opportunity for me. Thank you.
Good morning to all. Today we are celebrating World Consumers Day. On this World Consumer Rights Day, make it a point to delight every customer's office with all the make your business grow. The best thing you could do is understand the breed of your consumers and cater to them accordingly. The World Consumer Day is celebrated on March 15 every year to spread the awareness regarding consumer rights and needs. It is an annual occasion observed on global level to protect the rights of consumers and to ensure that consumers are not subject to market or social injustice that may undermine their rights. This day serves as an annual occasion. Undermining the rights of consumers is equal to the social injustice. On April 1985, the United Nations approved the General Guidelines for Consumer Protection. In this year 1983, the first celebration of World Consumer Day was marked. Since then, this day is celebrated annually on March 15. On this day, several countries hold event conference which deals with human rights. Sometimes new ideas for protecting consumer rights are also announced. And this day highlights the power of consumers and their rights for fair, safe and sustainable marketplace for everyone. On this day was inspired by President John F. Kennedy. Customers are the most important visitor on our premises. They are not dependent on us. We are dependent on them. They are the purpose of it. They are not outsiders in our business. They are the part of it. We are not doing them for favor by saving them. They are doing us for a favor by giving us an opportunity to do so. It is a pleasure to share my views on World Consumer to you. Thank you for giving this wonderful opportunity.
Good morning to all. Today we are celebrating Consumer Day and now I am going to tell some consumer rights. Right to protection of health and right to safety. There may be few products that are more likely to cause physical danger to consumers' health, lives and property. The health hazards which are likely to arise have to be eradicated or reduced altogether. Right to be informed. Consumers should be given all the relevant facts about the product so that they can take intelligent decisions on purchasing the product. Advertising and labeling on the package should provide objective information to buyers. Right to choose. Consumer satisfaction is the ultimate aim of modern marketing and is the philosophy of marketing concept. A wise trader or dealer or manufacturer is one who maximizes his profits by maximizing the consumer satisfaction. Right to be heard. Consumers have every right to ventilate and register his or her dissatisfaction, disagreements and get the complaint heard and aired. This right is vital. Business enterprises should lend a compassionate ear to complaints or grievances of consumers. Right to seek redressal. The complaints and protests are not just to be heard, but the aggrieved party is to be granted compensation within a reasonable time period. There should be prompt settlement of complaints and claims lodged by the aggrieved customers. Right to consumer education. The consumer has a right to acquire knowledge and stay well informed all through his life. He should be aware about his rights and the reliefs granted to him where a product or service falls short of his expectations. Right to basic needs. Every customer has a right to get basic necessities of life such as food, clothing and water, and right to pure and healthy environment. Thank you.